Hello and welcome to ZTN News Blitz. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Owen Kaura. Let's take a look at our top stories. A duo in court over 78,000 US dollar crocodile skins. 9 corruption whistleblowers victimized. In India, 8 men arrested for stealing a bridge. And in sport, Zim Golf Open ready to tee off. But first, as Zimbabwe prepares for the 2023 harmonized elections, a lot still needs to be done to cater to people with disabilities. Previously, there were no materials such as Braille to cater to the blind on ballot boxes. That's not all. Even the country's constitution was not in Braille since it was adopted in 2013. But all that is in the process of being addressed. On Wednesday, the government made available the first batch of the Constitution of Zimbabwe in Braille and audio formats. Acting Director Constitutional and Parliamentary Affairs Charles Manidi said the latest versions will be distributed in schools.
The mandate that we are given is to ensure that the promotion of public awareness of the Constitution be done in 3 ways. The first one is the translation of the Constitution in all the officially recognized languages. And in this case, we have 16 of them, including sign language. It's also an official language. And that we must ensure that it is taught in schools. That is what Section 7 says. Now, it also says that it must form part of the curricula for training of members of the security services, for training for members of the civil service and employees and members of the public.
The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission says it is handling 9 cases of whistleblowers who are facing intimidation and victimization. The Commission's spokesperson, Commissioner John Makamure, told ZTN that intimidation of witnesses and whistleblowers is a prosecutable offense, noting that current laws do not provide comprehensive protection to witnesses in corruption cases. The anti-corruption body is hoping for an expeditious passing of the Whistleblower Protection Bill into law to add impetus to the fight against corruption. Now, Cabinet has already approved the principles of the bill, which now awaits introduction in Parliament.
We have received several cases of our witnesses and whistleblowers being harassed, victimized for cooperating with ZAC and providing the requisite information that we require for investigations. And this is unlawful. Victimization of whistleblowers, witnesses, is a serious offense.
As the Christians prepare for Easter celebrations, most Zimbabweans will be traveling to join loved ones for the holidays. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe says most accident fatalities during the holidays are youths aged between 20 and 34 years. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe chairperson Kurasi Vanda says on average 20 people die annually and most of the accidents are due to drunk driving.
The following are contributing factors to road fatalities in the country during this period: abuse of alcohol by both drivers and pedestrians, speeding which is too high for particular circumstances, leading to vehicle control loss and or inability to avoid hazards presented by driving situations, moving violations, for example, cell phone use while driving, not wearing seat belts, etc. Dangerous overtaking at barrier lines and or overtaking the face of oncoming traffic, vehicle fitnesses, defective tires and steering, especially on public and freight transport vehicles.
Now, the council's acting managing director, Clifford Kobo, says the Harare-Mutare and Harare-Bite Bridge highways account for most of the accidents. This is according to data from the past 5 years.
The routes are actually Harare-Mutare. That's where we Harare-Mutare, Harare-Bite Bridge. These are the 2 highways that we have had major accidents. And that's where we also have some of the worst black spots in the country.
And now on to our Crime Watch. A group of 9 men have been arrested in connection with a spate of armed robbery, murder and rape cases in and around the Lower Gweru district in Zimbabwe's Midlands province. Detectives based at Maboleni police station raided the suspect's homestead on Sunday night and netted the suspects following a tip-off from villagers. Dangerous weapons such as spears, axes, knives and catapults were recovered in the raid. Midlands Provincial Police spokesperson, Inspector Emmanuel Mahoko, confirmed the arrest to ZTN.
Police launched a manhunt for the suspects. At about 2300 hours, a raid was carried out at Baneti village under Chief Unina in Lower Gweru, where they arrested all the suspects at their homesteads. Searches were conducted, leading to the recovery of dangerous weapons comprising of 4 spears, an axe, a pair of catapults, 2 knives, and a stabbing spear, all used during the robbery. Total value in all the cases is yet to be ascertained and investigations are ongoing.
And a man from Masvingo appeared in court on Wednesday facing allegations of illegally possessing 52 crocodile skins. Duncan Andrew Wadley failed to produce a valid permit for the skins, which are worth 78,000 United States dollars. Investigators heard that his accomplice, Vimbai Zingirai, who is already on remand, was approached by detectives after a tip-off at a Maple Rain residency where she implicated Wadley. The skins were packed in sacks and stored in one of Zingirai's bedrooms. Harare Magistrate Yokai Zuda gave Wadley 20,000 Zimbabwe dollars bail, and his trial begins on the 9th of May.
Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe mabwe zenza ziyauya. Tichiverengana paufama, tichiverengana pakufara, yave nguva yekuverengana.
Zimbabwe will be holding a population and housing census from 21st to the 30th of April 2022. Census enumerators wearing census 2022 regalia will be interviewing heads of households, be it female or male, landlords and tenants, the homeless, those in transit, hotels, hospitals, and those in prisons.
Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe mabwe zenza ziyauya. Inzaka Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe maya yave nguva yekuverengana. Tichiverengana pakuvara, tichiverengana paukama, zenza ziyauya.
All the information collected in the census will be treated as private and confidential and will be used for statistical purposes only. So we urge you to cooperate by giving true information. Avoid scams. Census enumerators will never ask for your ID numbers, your bank accounts, money or donations.
Tichiverengana paukama, tichiverengana pakuvara, yave nguva yekuverengana.
Census 2022. Be sure to be counted.
Now let's take a look at business and health matters. The International Trade Center Deputy Executive Director Dorothy Tembo has revealed that the COVID-19 pandemic forced 47 million women into extreme poverty. The situation is getting worse given that most of the industries women operate in are not yet performing well, even as world economies begin to reopen. She revealed this while addressing delegates at the official launch of the Next She Exporter, an initiative spearheaded by Zimtrade to boost women participation in international trade.
We in the United Nations family recently highlighted that the pandemic will push 96 million people into extreme poverty by 2021, 47 million of whom are women and girls. And we have established some reasons as to why this situation keeps deteriorating. First, women tend to work in sectors which have been more heavily affected by the pandemic. Sectors such as tourism, hospitality, and retail tend to rely on face-to-face interactions and do not lend themselves easily to working from home.
Meanwhile, Zimbabwe's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, David Musabayana, said government is working on ensuring women have access to opportunities.
We have noted that women face difficulties in identifying opportunities to expand and internationalize, in part due to lack of relevant skills and networking opportunities. Unfavorable institutional and regulatory framework prohibiting female SME owners to effectively collateralize the asset or to deal with regulations and procedures, and unequal access to financial resources, among others. In this regard, my ministry is encouraged by the steps taken by government to ensure access to finance by women through the establishment of the Women's Bank, the Zimbabwe Women's Microfinance Bank.
And now on to Euro-Africa relations. The EU ambassador to Nigeria, together with France, Italy, Portugal and Spain's ambassadors met with the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company. The European Union is courting its first African liquefied natural gas supplier. The visit came as Europe tries to reduce its reliance on Russian gas. The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has pledged to stay in post despite being fined by police for breaking down lockdown rules in Downing Street in June 2020. The Prime Minister, the Chancellor and the PM's wife all received fixed penalty notices for attending a birthday gathering for the Prime Minister. The police in the Indian state of Bihar have arrested 8 men for stealing a bridge to sell it as scrap. The suspects, who include some of the state's government officials, arrived at the site with an earth excavator and gas-cutting torches for 3 days and chipped away at the remains of the bridge. Villagers thought the government had finally begun working on their request to remove an old bridge, when in actual fact it was for personal use. And a gunman wearing a gas mask set off a smoke bomb and opened fire in a New York subway train and shot at least 16 people yesterday. Authorities said 5 people are in critical condition and that the shooter is still at large. And that story taking us to sports news. And in sport, Dynamo's sponsors Sakunda Holdings have pledged to broker peace between the parties who are fighting over the ownership of the Glamour Boys. Dimbare is owned by Dynamo's Private Limited, whose major shareholder is Bernard Maria Chilesengo, but a grouping of former players led by Ernest Kamba is fighting to wrestle control of the club. Sakunda Holdings boss Kudata Guirei said his organization is working to resolve the issue.
We are doing a few things. Number one, we are making sure that the ownership structure is done properly according to the constitution of Dynamos. So what is the Dynamos? Do wacheda what is the Dynamos? Saka tubadanza magroup ese evanhu vanenge vachivari kugwisa vaunganidza pamwechete votaurirana vowirirana.
The Zimbabwe Golf Open makes a comeback next month after a 3-year absence. Speaking at the competition's launch in Harare today, Zimbabwe Open Golf Committee Chair Livingstone Gwatiringa expressed gratitude to the event sponsors for their support. Gwatiringa spoke to our correspondent Takuzwa Chitsiga.
We're very excited that our traditional sponsors and indeed new sponsors have been able to come to the table and sponsor this big national tournament, which will be held between the 19th and the 22nd of May.
Now, how does it feel to play a professional sport at 13? Well, during the recent women's T20 competition, ZTN followed the story of a 13-year-old Bulawayo girl, Christina Mutasa, who made her T20 debut for Tuskers women. The Petra College student who received her cap from her uncle, John Nyumbu, a former Zimbabwean international player, shares her thoughts on her debut.
To be honest, it feels amazing, but at the same time rather scary. I mean, the fact that I'm only 13 years old and playing alongside talented women who are much older than me can really be intimidating sometimes. However, at the same time, it's a blessing to say I got this wonderful opportunity.
Zimbabwe women under-19 team head coach Trevor Piri believes that Christina's progress gives confidence to the whole setup.
Started last season coming for our provincial training. Yeah, it is a challenge working with the party with the crop of senior guys we are having, and then it's good that also get that exposure. It's my first time to see such parents working and then who are supportive because we have her parents coming all the way from Bulawayo coming to support her, which is good to see.
Now, Christina's debut was one not to miss for her mother, Rodna Mutasa, who traveled 440 kilometers from Bulawayo to witness this special occasion.
No, it's always good to encourage a child. As a family, it's a culture that we have actually adopted. We always follow our kids wherever they play, be it Harare, Mutare. We're always supporting our kids. And for that, the kids also get, overwhelmed, and they're happy and they perform better because the parent is watching.
With the inaugural Women's Under-19 World Cup taking place in South Africa next year, Zimbabwe can be confident of a good show with such upcoming stars like Christina or Linda Chare, beloved Biza, in that setup. And that's it on ZTN News Blitz. Thank you very much for joining us. Do stay with us. Up next, World in 5.